your right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, finals are currently over, and leaving us with less than 40 hours left of school before commencement. Honored guests, Colonel Klein, Captain Morrisline, faculty, and fellow cadets. Welcome to the 44th Annual Army-Navy Academy Americanism Contest. The contestants are ready to go and waiting patiently. So let's get right into the competition. Our first speaker is from the junior division, Matt Vandervoort. Matt's speech is entitled, My Heritage. Matt?
Good evening. My heritage. In the early 1600s, a Dutch colony by the name of New Amsterdam was located in what is known as New York today. This land was blessed with rich, fertile soil and located near the ocean. Due to this, many Dutch were influenced to settle there. Many people, such as my ancestor, Peter Vandervoort, decided to start over in America. To these people, a chance at freedom is worth dying for. Well, my great ancestor survived a terrific journey and was granted 200 acres of land, which includes all of Manhattan Island. Even today, ownership traces back to him. Throughout the years, the price skyrocketed. My ancestors' temptations gave up. He sold the land to the British. As America changed, people changed with it. Many foreign settlers, such as the Vandervoorts, changed their lives for America's standards. My great-great-grandfather and his 9 sons decided to Americanize the name. They spelled it as one word and pronounced it Vandervoort. Regardless of the name changes, from the time my ancestors first came here, America is now our land. I am a descendant of a fine line of Dutch settlers. I am American. My heritage is American and Dutch. I believe, like most Americans, that our heritage makes us stronger because we realize that this country is a land of immigrants who have come from all corners of the earth, seeking freedom and opportunity in the land of the free. Sky is the limit, and we ourselves are able to grow and prosper, unlike what our prospects were in the countries from which we came. Thank you.
Before calling upon our next speaker, I'd like to take a moment to point out that as with our first speaker, our second speaker will be from the junior division also. These two cadets are competing for a separate award completely. So now I'd like to call upon Mr. Craig Pollock with a speech entitled Freedom. Craig?
I don't have any dramatic stories to tell you or glamorous speeches to get your adrenaline running. I just have a few short words I'd like to share with you about America, or what America means to me. I was not born an American. Many people like to listen to my experiences in South Africa with the war and death going on. They think that it's very neat. But the truth is that it's not a very nice place to live. Where I come from, when I came here, I met many people who complained and said how corrupt the system is because they have to go to school and they're old enough to make their own decisions. Well, they're not. Where I come from, you want to get an education so you can better yourself. The problem is you must be Hawaiian. The truth is, those people I met we're just ungrateful for what they've got in this country. In this country, the harder that you work, the more that you will get. The harder you work for the system, the more the system will give to you. There is no racism, as my skin is a different color than yours, so I have no rights. When I was a little boy, I would walk down the street with a black friend of mine. One day, a group of white South African boys crowded around us, and they mocked me because I was white and he was black, and I was with him. They started to throw things at us and yell at us. Then they started to come with us and push us around. When I woke up, I was really sore, and I couldn't hardly move. I looked around, and I was in an alley. I looked at my friend. He was all bloody, and he was crying. The ironic thing about it is that I was only 6 years old. I didn't understand why they were doing it to me. My dad says I always used to ask him why my black friends could never do anything with me, like go swimming or go to the shop. I love America, and I want to become a citizen. This country is great because everything is set up for the people. It protects your rights as a person. Everyone can get an education, not just people with white skin. You can better yourself by trying harder, and everyone has got a fair chance to be the best they can. One thing I'd like to say is be grateful for what you've got and use it to the best of your ability. Thank you. 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. The first high school contestant to speak this evening will be Roland Morocco, in a speech entitled 2,413. Roland. All right.
2,413. It's a large sum. It could represent 2,413 grains of sand on a beach, or 2,413 leaves that have fallen from a tree, or perhaps 2,413 inhabitants from a small town in the Midwest, or 2,413 Americans that are still unaccounted for from the Vietnam War. For the families of 2,413 Americans still unaccounted for in Southeast Asia, including many from San Diego County, the uncertainty continues. Of the 2,413 total, 1,767 were lost in what is now Vietnam, 549 in Laos, 82 in Cambodia, and 6 in China. The families range from those who feel nearly sure their loved ones are dead to those who feel they are still being held prisoner. Although the term POW and MIA are commonly used, the status of all but one of those unaccounted for was changed during the late 1970s to killed in action, fighting not recovered. Air Force Colonel Charles E. Shelton is the only one currently listed as a POW. He was selected by the government to symbolize that it has not ruled out the possibility that Americans are still being held alive. We symbolize that war with movies such as Hanoi Hilton, Platoon, Hamburger Hill, and Full Metal Jacket. We write books like The Unknown Soldier and Mission MIA. We have monuments like The Wall and the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which stands along with the tombs from World War II and Korea. The government is trying to bring home those who were captured. 21 Republican members of Congress have pledged to contribute $100,000 each toward the $2.4 million reward for any citizen of Vietnam, Cambodia, or Laos who will defect and bring any American prisoner of war home to the United States. More than 134,000 Americans are eligible to wear the Army's newest medal, but fewer than 20 of them are currently in uniform. The medal recognizes soldiers who were once prisoners of war. The POW medal hangs on a ribbon with a wide black vertical band in the center, edged on both sides by red, white, and blue stripes. On its face, an American eagle, which is surrounded by barbed wire and bayonet points. All present and former U.S. service members with honorable service who were taken captive in combat during 1917 are eligible to wear this medal. We use these symbols to remind us of the men who have fought and died for our country. But there are still those men who have not come home yet. We must not forget those men. They were what America is all about, what it stands for. They were called, and they went. They were captured or killed by the enemy fighting to keep America free. For them, the war is not over. The war is still going on. Even 15 years after the Paris Peace Treaty was signed. Peace. For those men, there will never be peace. Not until they're safely home on American soil. Then, and only then, will there be peace. 2,413. Lest we forget. Thank you.
When thinking of the unofficial anthem, America is Beautiful, which we sing quite often, I might add, it brings to mind a question. What do the words mean? No, I won't attempt to sing. It's only punishing you. But I will recite it. And if I may ask the audience to close your eyes and think of the words and what they mean to you, it would be much appreciated. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains and majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose stern and passionate stress a thoroughfare for freedom be across the wilderness. America, America, God thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty and law. Just something to think about. Our next speaker will be Tom Toxby, speaking a speech titled, America, the Land of the Free. Tom?
Good evening. Ever since the end of the Second World War, America and Russia have been at odds with each other over arms, technology, and human rights. The two superpowers are so different that they may never be allies. The other day, two citizens from each country, one a staunch American and the other a loyal Russian, were sitting around having a debate on how their two countries compare. The American says, in America, we have rights so great that I could go in front of the White House with a large anti-Reagan sign and yell, Reagan stinks, Reagan stinks, and nothing would happen to me. The Russian replied, in Russia, we can do a similar thing. I could go into the middle of the red square with a large sign and yell, Reagan stinks, and nothing would happen to me. That's a joke. But really, only in America can a citizen exercise freedom of speech and many other freedoms laid out by the Bill of Rights. Russia has an austere, strict society where no one may speak out or correct the one-party government, a right practiced by many Americans. The Constitution states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. This is the First Amendment, and perhaps the most important part of our rugged Constitution. It outlines the freedoms that Americans can enjoy every single day, and is part of the reason why we are considered the greatest country in the world. America has long been called the Great Melting Pot, a place where every person, regardless of race, religion, or nationality, may come to escape oppression and live a viable life. Many immigrants, like my grandfather, came to better themselves and live the American dream. My grandfather left Denmark after leading the Danish underground during World War II against the Germans. Denmark offered him several jobs, including the chemist general, after the war in an effort to have him stay. But no, my grandfather wanted his own business and a fresh start in America. He came down to California with his family with $200, and he managed to sell a few of his paint pens to help him start out. He worked very hard, and finally he built his own paint factory in Santa Barbara. The high points of his career was making the paint that was used on the Apollo mission to the moon. He lived the American dream. He started out with little, but ended up very successful. Hardly anyone immigrates to Russia, but as many as are able leave. What does that say to the country? In fact, most of Russia's immigrants leave to America. That says a lot for our country. America, in her young life, has emerged as the greatest country on this planet. There really is no comparison to any other country, and I am proud and privileged to be an American.
Well done, Tom. Believe it or not, America the Beautiful has yet another part. Again, I ask you, please close your eyes and think about what the words mean to you. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, they guide thy gold we find, till all success be noblest, and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream, that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Our next speaker is Mark Silverstone. His speech is entitled A Memorial for Vietnam Veterans. Mark?
Good evening. In history's past, walls have been made to contain troubled souls. But today there stands a wall, a monument, that's in remembrance of souls that fought for freedom against communism and fought for the love of their country. The names upon this wall, Chinese, Spanish, Polish, German, and Anglo-Saxon names, are names of people from the farthest corner of the world who were sent to another distant corner in a war America would never forget. The Veterans Memorial, the permanent tribute to those Americans who fought for uncertain ends, is located between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. Each of the two 200-foot walls are filled with carved names arranged in the order of their death from 1959 to the present day. These 58,000 names, each name a special human being who never came home, are a reminder to us of the cost of war. Vietnam was a war that the nation is finally coming to terms with, and recognizing the sacrifice of those who made it back and those who did not. The war had no real goals. Our only objectives were meaningless areas of land that we fought and died over. Americans died in an unpopular war that was prolonged by policymakers and congressmen, even though winning was no longer the issue. 6 years after Vietnam, the nation was ready to acknowledge those who put their life on the line for our country. One man in particular, Jan Scruggs, a former Army corporal, decided to honor those who did not make it back by organizing a campaign to build a memorial. He got the idea one night in 1979 after seeing the movie The Deer Hunter. The movie brought back the unpleasant memories of Vietnam, and Jan did not want America to ever forget those who lost their lives for their country. He sold some land dealing for $2,500 and started banging on doors in what seemed like a hopeless venture to raise money for the monument. Scruggs and his lawyers helped persuade Congress to assign him 2 acres of land in Constitution Gardens just northeast of the Lincoln Memorial. Jan Scruggs raised $7 million from 500,000 donors and also managed to enlist over 1,400 entries in a professionally judged design competition. Jan Scruggs and organizers of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund wanted the memorial to include include a display of every American who died in the war, leaving the emphasis on those who died without political or military content. Maya Yin Lin, then a Yale architecture student, won the competition with her melancholy design. The monument looks like manicured stone ramparts with two angled walls, each 250 feet long, sloping down into the ground from a height of 10 feet at the junction. The most controversial issue about the wall was the black granite the walls were made of. Some people argued that, quote, blackness was disgracing those who fought in the war, and that it shouldn't be made with a black color. To satisfy the critics, Jan Scruggs agreed to a statue of 3 Vietnam foot soldiers and an American flag to be implanted nearby. Like the war itself, the memorial is less than the dead deserve. It's a memorial to appreciate those Americans who were fighting for a just cause. The war in Vietnam had, quote, no official beginning and no official end, only a first and a last death. Its deepest meaning is expressed by the faith of those who fought there. The veterans gave the war that meaning, and they and their families did the same for the memorial. Those who died in Vietnam gave no less than those Americans who died at Gettysburg or at Normandy. But their memorial is not a monument for the glory and victories or even for a cause. It is a reminder to us of the cost of war. Thank you.
Believe it or not, America Beautiful has no more parts. But I'd like to take just a few moments and introduce our judges to y'all. We are indeed fortunate to have enlisted the services of eminent men representing fraternal, patriotic, civic organizations. Ask and rise and be recognized. Mr. Jack Gilmore, who served 22 years in the United States Navy, is a veteran of Korea and Vietnam. An instructor of medical service schools, Mr. Gilmore is the past exalted ruler of the Elks and Oceanside and currently serves as the Lodge Secretary. Mr. Gilmore, qualified as an Elks Grand Lodge Judge in the ritualistic world, is equally qualified to serve as the judge for our contest. Welcome, Mr. Jack Gilmore.
The ease with which our lives flow offers us the chance to excel that is not found in other countries. These qualities make America so special and appealing to most immigrants. And one can be faced with poverty, yet pursue a will to succeed in whatever they desire. Almost nothing can hold that person back. It seems that other countries unfairly criticize us in the media. This may be in response to their own inadequacy. Take, for instance, our education system. If our schools are doing such a poor job, then why would the California state college system be the most sought after by foreign nations in the world? People everywhere are knocking down doors to be accepted to the institutions that we take for granted. Free enterprise is extremely attractive to those who would emigrate. Our economy, the ability to take out loans, and a monstrous consumer appetite are all reasons for the scientist, the entrepreneur, and the adventurer to look west. The form of capitalism we practice is not without noble cause. Those who have not been so fortunately down are not forgotten. The jobless, the homeless, and the hungry are not left to their own, but instead are moderately watched over and aided by the state. Granted, some take advantage of this, but by and large, the system takes care of itself. The safeguards of our Constitution allow us to freely criticize and thus change any aspects of our lives that we, as a whole, disagree with. If diligent people are constantly on the lookout, that which is unjust can be stopped. This is why we must stay aware of what is going on in our surroundings. Free Americans have gained many freedoms. With freedoms, however, come responsibilities. It is important that America not lose sight of the goals our forefathers sought to achieve. There is more to life than the material things with which we are easily caught up in. It is most important that we never lose sight of the inward gratification that goes hand in hand with being American. Thank you.
History is important. Everyone and everything has a history. The Americanism contest is no exception. Get a little history of Americanism contest for you all. Americanism is like the state of the battle war. By the year 1945, the outcome of the Second World War was no longer in doubt, but the nearness of disaster to our way of life gave pause for thinking people to ponder what might have happened to the world had America lost the war. Mr. Fred Mitchell, the owner and editor of the Carlsbad Journal and member of the Academy's Board of Directors, suggested that there be a brief moment when cadets and those associated with the Academy could take stock of what their country had meant to them. A unanimous vote of the board brought the Americanism contest into being. All cadets would write an essay on their definitions, opinions, and feelings of America. And with the English speaker's assistance, we will be choosing of the very best ones for presentation at the end of the school year. An evening for the presentation was set aside during graduation week, and the finalists were given their assistance by the drama coach as they prepared for the competition. With little change in format, the contest has continued since 1945, and tonight's event marks an official 44th anniversary. With this, I'd like to call upon our last speaker, Scott Rabinowitz, with a speech entitled, The Extra Mile.
Good evening. What does the phrase, being American, mean in modern times to us? To some, it means working from birth to death, with no hope or even thought of ever having a chance to amount to something. Some people say that the American dream is to have a family, hold down a good job, and live without making any waves in our political system. To truly be American, however, it takes a lot more dedication than some of us will ever know. This great country of ours was not founded by the non-voting, 9-to-5 type of young urban professionals that are so commonplace today, but rather by a small group of men who had a purpose. Their purpose was to live in a land of the free, and they were willing to make any sacrifices necessary in order to live in such a land. With all the odds stacked against them, the founders of our country were able to put their fears aside and fight to attain what seemed like an impossible goal, their freedom. Try now to picture yourself overseas, in a country where you do not know the language, fighting a war that seems endless and without purpose. Now picture yourself in charge of approximately 40 soldiers, most of whom are now either dead or dying. and you're standing on the battlefield alone. You are one lone soldier and a leader of men staring into the eyes of death. The only things you have to go on are your orders and your instincts. Your name is Lieutenant Audie Murphy, and you have but two choices. You can either fight on as directed by the president of your home nation, or you can desert. Luckily for any of us, we will never be faced with such decisions. But for one Lieutenant Murphy, a man who had nothing to lose by retreating, his decision was to fight on, even in light of personal danger. Having no heavy firepower and very little in the way of Allied support, Audie Murphy single-handedly charged an enemy battalion, killing many of the enemy and demonstrating a forgotten courageousness emanating from the days of the Revolution. This was a day when a true American, one who went far above and beyond the call of duty, put personal safety aside to fight for a cause which he believed in completely and without purpose. Now, picture yourself as an athlete, aspiring to go to the Olympics. You live in a rough district on the lower side of town, with a large impoverished family. Sure, your coach says you're good, but he also says you need the extra practice time. With your obligations to the family, you're working every day until late to support them. Your only opportunities for practice are in the early morning hours before school. The only place you can practice is at the Crosstown YMCA. You know that you can make it all the way to the Olympics, but not without tremendous effort. There are many such American athletes who will be competing in Seoul this summer that have really traveled the extra mile to get there. To be a sincere American in modern times and living up to the standards set by our forefathers, you must prove your worthiness. Being American takes the true moral courage demonstrated by the men and women who have risked their lives in time of war so that a flag may yet wave. By the American athletes who have shed their blood, sweat, and tears on the road to the Olympics so that they could represent the United States. And by any American who has enough guts to get up and fight for what he believes in, no matter what the cost. Thank you.
John, well done, Scott. That completes our program as far as the speeches are concerned. And I think that all the participants and competitors here deserve a round of applause for their hard work. To allow the judges some time to make a decision, there's a group of people behind me, behind the curtain here, that have prepared a skit for you. The Junior Division Masculine Association will now make a small presentation of Summer Comes, Diamond Oak.
Get out, stay out. Gonna have to sprinkle extra pepper on it. Sure ain't gonna be noticed there. Intended to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy that's waiting for you. Go and get it, or throw it out. Hope that water's hot enough for that pretty old face of yours, Curly.
You're short, good Judge Horseflesh, Cookie. Ain't Dub.
Sure.
Let's have another towel. The dog's been sleeping on this one.
No clean towel till Saturday, dude.
What do you thought he's trying to do? Drown me?
Don't get ornery, Tex. Your face is washed now. All you gotta do is dry.
Fried cow for supper again? We've been eating on that stew for 6 weeks now. We are right down to the fat roll.
Boiled potatoes again.
Fried beef and boiled potatoes. 3 times a day for 6 weeks.
I can't hardly choke it down myself. But that's all the boss hands me to cook it. Well, we got stewed prunes for dessert tonight. Again.
Where we go? Winter's coming on. Most ranchers are laying off their cowboys now.
Boss is looking for a chance to laugh you fellers, too.
It's gonna be a hard winter. The coyotes look lean and hungry. The deer left the ranges long ago. They know.
I don't like it. Snow and cold, nothing to do but think. think I got lost? Crying?
He was gonna flip a coin through a broom.
Well, I aim to everything in sight, no matter how bad it tastes. Riding fences sure gives a man a real appetite.
Chicory hit it again. The boss can save on coffee. I wish it was summer here. I like riding in the sun, sleeping out nights under the sky.
Mighty cold in here. Boss should have chinked up the logs against the wind.
Boss ain't gonna buy no stove for your bunkhouse. He says you're a bunch of dudes wanting a stove and dessert fill meals, and all them frills and hot blue spandangles.
Ain't nothing wrong with wanting some fancy now and then.
Waffling paper pants and that snatch of pork chop.
You might not believe it, so look at me. But I knew a gal once that baked English food station. Big gobs, whipped cream dripping off them. Her name was Genevieve. Doggone it, I should have married her.
That done settled it. That biscuit broke off the finest gold tooth I ever had.
I couldn't help it. We're fresh out of baking powder. There wasn't hardly no lard for shortening.
I'm leaving.
Where you heading for?
Anywhere's but here. I'll draw my pay and light out. I got 2 months back pay coming. $80 ought to get me a long way.
Boss don't have to pay if you leave without warning. It's different if you fire her, though.
Could ask my pay first, then leave.
I'll go with you. Sure would teach the boss lessons. Old rattlesnake's trying to make our life miserable. We'll get up and win for our time, Dustin, and he won't have to pay us. Say, next time I see him, I'll spit right in his eye. Sure teach him mercy. Well, howdy, Boss. Come right on in.
You're fired, and the rest of you go with him.
What about the back pay you owe us, boss?
Well, I'll mail it to you. Send me your address when you get located.
Might take some time to get around to it. We better stay on for a spell.
I can't pay you off till I sell them steers. Don't you believe me? Sure wish you could pay us, Bob. Listen, I didn't come over here to argue. I'll fair square with my cowhand. Always was. Listen, tell you what I'll do. I'll give you each $10 out of what you got covered. Use it if you want to leave down door. Or you can buy a bunch of stoves or canned peaches or lacy curtains so you'll be satisfied here. You'll get the rest when I sell them steers, and not a day sooner. I hope y'all leave. I'll be glad to get you off my plate, lazy complaining dude.
10 measly dollars. Well, it's enough to get me out of here anyways.
Where are you going?
I'm saddling old buck up. Heading south, keep riding steadily. Cooking my own grub, camping out nights. And then one day when it's fine and warm, I'll ask the first stranger I see, "Whereabouts am I, partner?" And he'll say, "California, cowboy."
It ain't that easy. You can travel for weeks and spend all that $10 and still be in Montana. Montana's a mighty big spread.
I ain't got nothing against the domino in summer. It's winter.
Nothing to do but see that herd of white-faced cattle get through the winter.
Anyways, I got my music.
Next to California, I'd like to find one of them ranches owned by a pretty young gal. Cowpuncher rides by, she gives him a job. She needs his help because the poor man's rustling her cattle. I'll show him up, take the cattle, he makes the poor man. She helps him, marries me, and I get to own the ranch in all in 90 days' time. Imagine it.
When's all this happen?
I don't know. I read in here Tender Wild West romance. They may make these cookies grow. You bet nobody can make you this and that.
Don't stop. Keep it playing. Huh? Where'd you get that there guitar? Sure is my answer. Sure is a wonderful tone. Would cost a small fortune.
Now I give a fella $2 for it. Said he got it from Sears Roebuck.
Must have been loco, sure enough. Look at the shine she's got.
She shellacked you know it.
No, patent. Shine comes by fine old things. Guitars you got in old Spain. Listen to that. Ain't it beautiful?
Ain't bad at that.
I ain't just playing it more careful, like.
Sit down, stranger. But don't get them pants dirty.
Don't care even if I do. Got 8 more pairs just like it.
If you're aiming to borrow money, we ain't got none.
That food sure looks good.
Don't let it work on you, Cookie.
Say, are those real old-fashioned baking powder dishes? They are. Just like the ones they got down in old New England. Didn't think anybody in Montana was thinking of making them. They're wonderful. Nice and firm. Not mushy like some.
They sure ain't mushy. I can can tell you that.
Doggone it, they are good.
You fellas get coffee like this every day.
No, some days it's even worse.
Days like the kind I used to get while living on a plantation down in Old Virginia.
I'll bet.
Here, have a piece of meat.
You fellas get meat every day?
3 times.
Go! Last time I ate steak like that,
Oh, we know, in a swell hotel in Chicago.
no, Ritz Waldorf, New York City.
New York City?
$15 for the half.
Are you fellas listening?
You fellas sure are lucky to have fine food like this.
It's a bad I guess.
I got a dab of cake in the kitchen.
Kate, you handed out the prunes.
Well, let's save it for our Christmas soup fries. What's that here, boys? There's enough for all.
Stranger, I reckon you can lie fast as a cowboy can go steer. But if it makes you lose no dick, I don't blame you.
Ain't no harm in this bragging. Makes the time pass.
Lying. Bragging.
Who?
Where are you from, stranger? Yeah, that's what we'd like to know.
Well, I'm followed. Just now I set up good on the other side of the river. Got me a nice little spread over there.
This is on me.
Eat where he cooks and just like a party.
How do you like it over there on Ruby? Where you said you come from?
Fine. Fine. Right like better in Mexico. Old Mexico. Sun's hard like me.
What ranch do you ride for down there in Old Mexico? No, the biggest one in the world.
I don't ride for nobody. I don't have to. Got me a nice little gold mine down there.
We know that can't be true.
I ain't so sure of that. A lot of things in this world that a feller never knows about.
Any more stage left?
Sure.
Hey, you nice and warm down there? Old Mexico?
It's always warm there. Even in the winter. Downright beautiful.
I better see the door shut good. You might catch cold when you're used to a warm climate. Straighten me up your rustler. Whose horse is that? Biggest black horse I ever did see. That strips that fancy flannel sound like food.
That sound horse yours, stranger?
Sure is. Clear from old air. Ever been down?
No, we don't get around much.
I don't know much about you, stranger, but any man on a horse like that must be all right.
I'm pretty fond of him. Old Charlie Man, I call him. After that king, a long time ago. Mighty brave Hombre.
You must have got a good schooling on such things.
No, just I done a lot of traveling.
I can just imagine.
Granny, why don't you sit a while and think of that gal you used to bake in them pies, and leave us alone.
He must have been all over. That's why he knows good cooking.
Yeah, what was you saying?
I was thinking of Charlie Man. Mighty sorry to have to leave him behind again.
What do you mean leave behind?
I gotta get back to Mexico where it's warm. You fellas would like it. The sun's always shining. Lots of good trout fishing. All land you want to the Aspen. And them senoritas.
Are they pretty like they say?
So beautiful you can't imagine. Of course, ladies are pretty in old Argentine too. They sure admire us cowboys.
What?
Up here we're cowboys. Down there we're gauchos.
That sounds fine to know, all right.
Ain't it a pity you gotta throw away that fine outfit you're wearing?
Yeah, you can have it. You like it so much.
Oh, now.
Say, why don't you fellas pack your guns? Come along to Mexico with me. I got a car big enough for us all.
I can bring $10 toward gas and oil.
Your money's no good. I got enough for all of us.
Sounds fine. No thing ain't that easy. We can't just rip off to Mexico.
Why not? Great big flowers, red, blue, yellow ones. Great big round as your hat. Pretty easy. Everybody plays the guitar. All the fellers dressed up in velvet pants with silver buttons on.
I can't believe it'd be so easy.
I do it all the time. Go here, go there. Anyway,
I'll go with you tomorrow.
I'm all set.
Could you maybe use a cook down in old Mexico?
Sure could. I'm going. I don't think we hit Mexico or any of them places. Sure we will. And I'm all set. I know how to play the guitar already. You fellas will have to learn.
Say, what are we all so quiet for? We got music. Playing some tunes and stuff.
Oh, the fellas are tired of the one song I know.
I know one. For a time when I was bringing cattle up to Montana. Let's see. With a foot in stirrup and my hand on the thigh, I'm the best dang cowboy that ever rode by. With my hand in the saddle and my rope on the side, show me a horse and I can't ride. On a $10 horse and a $4 saddle, I'm the best dang cowboy that ever punched cattle. I went up to the boss and we had a little chat. I slapped him in the face and said, with my foot in the stirrup and my hand on my thigh, I'll quit punching cattle in the sleep by and by.
Oh, man. Oh, howdy, Wendy.
Wendy?
Well, howdy, Slash?
Have yourself a time, Wendy?
Yeah, had a fine time. Meet the boys. Fellers, this is Sheriff Lash.
Glad to meet y'all. Well, Wendy, about time we're getting back, ain't it?
Yeah. Say, it'll be wonderful. Going back, the moon shining, the wind blowing, just like it does of the old caribou.
Yeah, that's right. You loaf on ahead, and I'll catch up with you.
Okay. So long, fellers.
Hey, what about Mexico?
Old Mexico,
Yeah.
mighty fine country.
Charlie named after King Golden times. I told you, and I told you.
Shut up, Brian. Out with you guys, no trouble. No trouble at all.
We was talking about going to Mexico.
Poor old Wendy.
I don't like the way you talk about her. Sheriff or no sheriff.
Don't get on your high horse, son. I like to hear when you talk too. I like to hear fine. Everybody does, but it's just talk.
Seeing you're the law. Is Wendy in trouble?
Yeah, he's wiped that big black horse's right. Mr. Bland thought fault. Bought him all fancy clothes he likes and all. Yeah, he's wiped that big black horse from Apex Ranch, named a Bud. Gives him a new name, Charlie May. Dang, the horse don't like him. That horse won't go back no more to Apex.
Sorta hangs around, Wendy, eh?
Yeah, so Mr. Bland wants $100. He ain't gonna pay. So I gotta put Wendy in jail. Well, so long, fellas. Should've watched Wendy more carefully.
It all seems so real. The gold, the senoritas, the velvet pants.
Leave my hat alone.
What's the idea of stealing all over
Hey,
mine?
I try you eat your old coat for a doormat.
We gotta break that $2 guitar. It's Blaine started all this.
If you do it in your own bunkhouse. I'm the one that's got a good mind to leave now. Wendy was the only cowboy that ever liked my cooking.
You and that cake you was holding out on her for Christmas.
Well,
I'm sick of your whiny music that you always play. If you play any more in it, I'll break it over your head.
Of course, it's only $2 guitar.
You play any more on it, I'll break it in a million pieces.
Nothing's any good. I'll bust it myself.
Take it easy, son.
But while Wendy was here, grub tasted good, cook shack was warm, my guitar made fine music. He sure had a way of looking at things.
He's like the cowpunchers that ride through magazine ranches. What are we gonna do, guys?
I bet we can get Wendy out on bail. Curly, you better go get it.
Boys, I'm on my way.
And you better not come back without him either. Maybe we all ought to go.
Some of us ought to stay here and clean the place up. When you want
Oh, I forgot about it. I'll make the pudding. I got 2 cans of condensed milk. I was only saving in case somebody got sick.
Clean off them dishes, Granny. I'll keep up with it. Look, there's that cock, Joe. It's just great. All right, all right.
Hey, maybe it won't be the same knowing that he ain't been to all them places.
Miller makes up some better than what really is.
Door.
Funny thing, when I thought it was all real and he was bragging on it, I called him a liar. But now that I know he's a liar, it seems kind of true. I can't figure it out.
I don't care if the fella lies, just so he's sincere.
Yeah.
What time's going on in here?
Move your foot, boss. I'm trying to sweep there. Don't stand over there out of the way.
Look, fellers, look here. I just come over to tell you boys I'm going to have to file those $10 bills back. I've been looking over the books, and things look mighty dark.
I helped you out, boss. It's all so for us.
Might as well let me have it. You ain't got nothing to spend it on around here.
We need the money for bail money. For our company. I hope the sheriff listens to reason.
And if it don't, we can raise a rumpus and maybe he'll throw us in jail alongside of Whitney.
Say, what do we think of that?
Everybody shut up for a minute. I'm the boss of Domino. Now I have the right to know what's going on around here.
All right, boss.
You shut up too. I'm sick and tired of your complaining all the time.
There won't be any more complaining if our plans work out. We don't mind the cold truck no more. We're gonna have something to make this place beautiful.
I think they've all went loco.
Where's Whitney? He went to be down by Red Rock Creek. Showing where Charlie Band is based in Light of Moon. And the horse is long crazy about it.
Curly, tell your idea.
Boys, I don't think it'll work out.
Ain't no law against you renting him out to us.
Who?
I ain't got nothing to prove that he belongs to you. I'm liable to lose my office.
What? Who? What are you talking about?
Windy. Only way I can see is paying Tex $100. Buy the horse and Windy outright.
A horse?
Show. We'll buy him.
Why didn't we think of that before? Here's my money.
And mine.
And mine.
But you mean my money?
Guys, that's only $40.
Too bad, boys.
$60 more, we could have had him.
Wait, Mr. Houston.
Just what are you fellas fixing to buy with my money?
Windy. Cowboy, the office horse, bit loco. But boss, he sure talks pretty.
Well, I'll be rope tied and ready if that ain't the last straw. You fellas taking in loco cowpuncher and chew you up. I won't have it.
But boss,
No buts. If I catch him around here, I'll hurt him off my ranch so fast it'll make his head swim.
Howdy, fellas.
Windy. Windy, old boy.
Sure good to see ya.
Really glad you're back.
Sure not good to see ya. Well, I'm right pleased to be here. And who's this handsome looking fella?
Well, that's our car. Boss. Beat up.
Windy? You fella who owns this big, beautiful ranch?
Well, yeah, I own this place. Why?
Makes me kind of homesick for old Australia. Reminds me of the big, rich ranches they got down there. But this place is kept up better. I don't know what you fellas are thinking of. Trying to leave a fine boss like you.
Oh, I guess there's something to be said on both sides.
You remind me of an admiral I used to know. Big, handsome fella. Boss, the biggest ship in the British Navy.
Is that so?
This fella's name was Henry.
Say, that's my name too.
What an amazing coincidence. Two good-looking men with the same name.
My. What about this fella?
There's $100 due on his account for stealing a horse from the Apex Ranch.
You mean if these fellas pay $100, they can have him and the horse?
That's right.
Well, what do you idiots wait for?
we only got $40.
Sure is too bad. $60 more than you could have had.
Hey, Cookie, you got any money you've been saving up for Labor Day or whatever?
Here's every last cent I got. $27.
That makes $67. You wouldn't have to take her milk for the rest, would you?
I would. Apex would.
Well, Wendy?
Yeah, Charlie Maine feels right to home when you're around.
Well, I got $3 I was saving up to buy Genevieve a Christmas present.
$3. We can't take a gal present money.
That's right. Oh, she's probably dead or married. I ain't seen her in 20 years.
That'll make $70. Time to get on, Wendy. Sure hate to leave her for your plans.
Wait! Well,
Why, Mr. Houston.
every last cent I've got, that's $28.
Still $2 short.
We'll send you the rest when we sell them steers. Hey, boss?
Sure.
Well, I guess it's close enough.
Yeah, well, goodbye, Sheriff.
Huh? Oh, yeah, goodbye.
Well, so long, fellas. So long, Wendy.
So long, Mr. Man.
Wendy, sit down here. We'll eat, then we'll talk a while, then we'll have some more music.
Kind of reminds me of the days before Legion, eh, Houston?
Yeah.
Before I forget it, we got to build Wendy a bed tomorrow.
I got one up in the house that'll just about fit it.
Well, that's right now, Houston. But I can sleep just about anywhere. Why, many a time I slept in a ship's hammock, an old square rig sailing ship, plowing through a nor'easter. At the time we were sailing around the Cape, old Cape Horn, one day.
Fellas, it ain't right. I have nothing to prove that I have the right to let you stay here.
You can't do that. He's bought paid for.
I don't have any proof. Carly Jackson, you put down that friend of ours. That ain't no way to prove he belongs here.
We need documents.
Like the bill of sales when you sell steers.
Yes, and like that, but that's more legal. Here, where's the thing?
Here, I'll take it down. When in the course of human events becomes necessary, the undersigned cowpuncher,
Wendy.
transfer his field of service from Lazy Cage to Diamond Doe Ranch.
Ah, ain't that beautiful?
And whereas and wherefore it solemnly declared by the cowpunchers of the Diamond Doe in solemn conclave here assembled, that upon the payment of the sum of $100, the aforementioned cowboy have the inalienable right to dwell in green pastures hereafter forever, and forsaking all others to plead but you, Mr. Houston, cowboys, cook, Diamond Doe. Better get in about that horse. Furthermore, he shall dwell in the aforesaid green pastures to wit, Diamond Doe, whose beloved Arabian thoroughbred, Charlie Maine, Normandy Bud, Powder River County, where aforesaid ranch is located. Signed with our hand, sealed with our heart, 29th day of October.
Dated, we'll sign it.
That'll hold him all right. All right. Well, so long again. Yeah?
Yeah.
Putting must be near done.
I'll sure hate to miss the talking, boys. So long, fellas. So long, Flash. Short a fine time together, didn't we?
What were you saying about the time we went around old Cape Horn?
Yeah. Well, sir, we sailed around like I said, and we came upon a really scary-looking schooner. She was a pirate ship. Fellas ever see a pirate ship? Well, sir, she had big white sails, red, yellow patches on it. She flew a black flag, a white skull and crossbones painted on it. The captain wore a red rag around his head. One of his eyes was punched out, but he wore a black patch over it. Carried a nice blue feet. Dirt, we call it. Ship ahoy! He ordered at us. Ship ahoy yourself! He hollered back.
Tonight I was surprised to read the Junior Master Wig Society. I didn't didn't know we had one, but I'm glad we do because I think they did an outstanding job tonight. So I'd like to have another applause for our young actors here. I know they've been working hard on the play, and I think they did a very fine job. Well, now getting what I came up here for with the presentation of the winners, you know, it's really difficult to judge events like this because, in my opinion, all the young men who participate are winners. And I mean that sincerely. They work preparing the speeches which they give and so forth, and it's a shame in a way that we have to select just certain ones, but I would like to recognize for the junior division, Craig Pollack.
Show it off.
Finisher for the high school, Scott Rabinowitz. Gold medal this evening is Tom Toxin. I would again like to, let's give all the contestants tonight a good round of applause. I would also like to thank the judges this evening for being with us. Some of the judges, I think maybe all three of the judges have been with us about 7 years now, and we certainly appreciate it. It's really a pleasure to take part in the 44th Americanism contest, and I certainly appreciate all of you this evening. We appreciate the guests who showed up to be with us, and thank you very much.